So I decided after looking at the master list of movies that I've made last night that I didn't really want to watch another Disney film. So I looked through the other films and I remembered the Madagascar films and decided, what's the best part about the Madagascar films? The penguins. So today I'm going to watch the penguins of Madagascar. So we start the movie with a documentary crew watching the penguins just being penguins as we see a young Skipper Kowalski and Rico walking in a line with all of their fellow penguins, but they're different than the other penguins because they see an egg and they want to save it while all the other penguins are just willing to let it die. So they reject nature and chase after the penguin egg to the old boat where they encounter leopard snails, nature's snakes. And then they just blow up the boat to save the eggs and they land on an iceberg that floats through the ocean and Private is born. And they ride off into the sunset to start their adventure. And on a side note, now that I think of it, why is Private British, but all of the other penguins aren't? Is Private just a different kind of penguin than the other penguins? Is he just built different? Please, somebody let me know. We then cut 10 years in the future where the penguins really hate King Julian and blow themselves up to leave and celebrate Private's birthday by breaking into Fort Knox. Because that's what Private definitely wants to do. But as they get into the gold vault with relative ease, because of course they do, it's a children's film. If this was real life, there'd just be dead penguins. They get in deeper, but their goal was never the gold. The real prize was the cheesy dibbles inside the vending machine. And when Private orders the cheesy dibbles out of the vending machine, he gets hit with a surprise octopus. And now our penguin heroes are in Venice, in a cage. A sweet, glorious cage filled with the most powerful substance, the cheesy dibble. As Rico quickly breaks free, and all Private wants is to be a valued and appreciated member of the team. Don't we all, Private? He eats and gags on the paperclip that Rico used to break them free as they walk through the secret underground lair and find Dave! An octopus who is just very jealous of Penguin's cuteness. And really, he just wants the same thing that Private wants. To be loved, valued, appreciated. Isn't that so wholesome? But Dave values revenge over trying to mend any bridges as he has his octopus minions attempt to hold the penguins down as he orders Nicholas to cage them. The penguins quickly make their way with the mysterious green goo of doom known as the Medusa serum, and they have this kind of sick gondola chasing scene that shows the personality of the stereotypes of the country of Italy. As the penguins quickly get trapped in a corner, the octopus minions go to stop them. And surprise! One gets attacked by an owl, another by a small seal, and the last by a polar bear disguised as a phone booth. And then a wolf in a jet, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, comes in. And weird casting for Benedict Cumberbatch to be in this movie, because he is a man who cannot properly say the word penguin. As Classified the Wolf explains his team to Skipper and what they do, Skipper just kinda eats cheesy dibbles and tries to brag to them about how good his team is to someone who completely believes that their team is the better team as they're brought into Northwind headquarters. As then Classified asks the penguins everything they know about Dr. Octavius Brine, aka Dave, as they informed him that Dr. Octavius Brine is an octopus, and they thought that Dr. Octavius Brine was a sheep, showing that they're inferior to the penguins already. And since the penguins already have the Medusa serum that they were looking for, Dave calls in via Zoom, and Northwind is just confused, and just like any boomer, Dave doesn't understand how Zoom calls work, or how microphones work, or how technology truly works. The world is scary to people who don't understand changes. Am I right, boomers? But the mood immediately switches as Dave reveals he has so much more of that Medusa serum. As the penguins do what the penguins do and blow up the jet that Classified owns, Classified then decides to hit them with a sleep dart and send them to the most remote place in the world, Madagascar. But they wake up mid-flight and you get to see a cool sequence from them jumping from plane to plane and just being complete fools, but it works for them in the end and you just have to love them for it. We then cut to Dave stealing penguins by asking Elijah, would you grab them? As Northwind shows up a little bit later just to realize that they've lost those penguins, and our 4 main penguins as well. Where are our 4 main penguins, you may ask? They are in Shanghai. And the penguins realize that Dave has been taking penguins from all over the world, and they believe that they're in Ireland. So they're trying to figure out how to get to where they think Dave is going next, which is Shanghai. So they put themselves in a box from Shanghai and ship themselves to Shanghai to go to the Shanghai Zoo to stop Dave from taking the Shanghai penguins. But Dave ends up taking the penguins anyway, and he also ends up taking one more penguin than he planned. Poor, sweet little Private, our lovable hero. The 4 other penguins try to chase down Private, but Northwind ends up getting in their way, yet again proving their incompetence, as everything that they do is bad and they fail, and because of Northwind, their plane blows up again. And as they're all floating through the ocean, Northwind is just being the most pretentious jerks they could be, as they're tracking Private's location, and we see that Dave has all of the penguins caged up in a row. Then we cut to Northwind and the penguins scoping out Dave's lair and having an argument about which plan to do. But they go with the Northwind's plan, which is a mistake. But it's what they do because of the power of guilt tripping. But it does lead to this very funny scene right here. But then this quickly leads to Northwind's plan failing like they do on every operation in this movie so far. But the penguins finally catch up to Private, who's tied to a chair by Dave. As Dave is trying to make some sort of power play, he charges up the Medusa serum ray that turns people into monsters. But Private is able to break free using the paperclip from before. But nobody knows that Private is safe because everybody thinks that he exploded. And Private then quickly saves the people from Northwind, and Northwind is just focused on getting the gadgets and looking cool, so they quickly bounce on Private to regroup for resources, because they are awful in every single decision that they make in this movie. They are terrible. Poor Benedict Cumberbatch. As Private goes all action movie hero and goes on his own, and is only able to see everybody he cares about turned into monsters. And oh man, are these monster designs pretty cool looking. I like how they're just a whole bunch of different kind of sea creatures mashed together with penguins. It kind of really shows like the envy of Dr. Octavius Brine. It's just a really interesting idea. But the monsters penguins spread around New York and scare all of the people. Dave convinces everyone to call a whole bunch of exterminators to just murder all of these penguins, which is absolutely terrible. And it's not just because we're supposed to care about these penguins because they're the main characters, but like on a scientific perspective, that is a bad move. You are a doctor, Mr. Brine. A doctor. If you eliminate an entire species off of the face of the planet, it'll affect the natural food chain in such ways that we couldn't even possibly comprehend. You could not just be killing all of penguin kind, you could be killing all humans, all leopards, all lemurs, all people. Everything you know and love could be dead just because of this one stupid, insignificant decision. How could you, Dr. Brine? But the exterminators go ahead and pick up these penguins with the old suck-suck machine, as Private makes his way to attempt to save the day, takes the Medusa serum ray, and heads to go save the day. As Private moves to go get the old gang back together, we see how Skipper truly sees Private as just a little baby penguin. And the power of horniness turns Kowalski back to normal, and this is just kind of how Rico always is. As the ray is stolen and the team is back together, they figure out Private's plan. Old cute little Private's gonna put himself inside the ray and use his cuteness to save all the other penguins. As they set up a beam splitter with all of Dave's snow globes, the penguins prepare to save the day, but they realize, oh no, they're out of batteries. So they send Rico to the store while they're fighting to go ahead and get batteries. But Rico can't decide between batteries and cheesy dibbles, so he just kind of grabs both. And as this decision takes a lot of time, the penguins are being overwhelmed, but they get saved by Northwind, who immediately get captured by Dave. As Dave is capturing the penguins, the day is saved surely by cheesy dibbles, as Skipper makes the perfect shot and hits the button and saves all of the penguins at the price of elking Private. And Private finally gets what he wants, to be a valued and loved member of the team. And as they see Dave, who got trapped in a snow globe, they give him to a little girl. And we are treated to the funniest scene in this entire movie.
This is difficult for me to say.
Is it osteoporosis? You just gotta lean into the vowel. Osteoporosis.
No!
And now that the penguins have saved the day, Private stays an elk, and the movie ends with the greatest thing a penguin can ever have. Jetpacks! Who says penguins can't fly? But of course, there's a little extra scene where they fix Private because they have to. And that's the Penguins of Madagascar movie. A nice wholesome film where the themes are to just accept people for who they are. And man, is the writing and the jokes in this movie just so on point. If you have not seen this movie, you need to watch this movie. This movie is better than all of the other Madagascar movies, like tenfold. And this has been Spiral Tree's 10-minute review of Penguins of Madagascar. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit me with a subscribe and a like. If you have anything to say about the video, please go ahead and put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to click the link tree in the description to follow us on our social medias and our gaming channel. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes! Now that's pizzazz!